First of all, you need a followership that is articulate, patient, resourceful, critical, questioning, asking. But when you have a followership that thinks only by itself, self-considered, is local, partisan, ethno or religious interest, then it poses a problem for the leadership.
To summarize what you just said, the attitude and the manner in which the followership interface with the leadership determine the performance of the leader himself or herself.
Particularly what you call the top 5%.
Top 5% of the populace.
Of the populace. If they themselves are not articulate, if themselves cannot ask questions, if they cannot ask the right question, so even if they are being given wrong answers, they won't know. The mass media has a major fundamental role to play. It is an agenda that they must consider as primary to their public interest function. If we are going to get the visionary leadership to be able to win elections, then they must assist in preparing this 5%, in harnessing them, in networking them, making them available to these visionary leaders, so that the mass of the people can, at election time, deliver these visionary leaders.
Are we ready for this kind of transformation and change that we all clamor that we want to see birth in 2023? Are we ready as a nation? Are we serious? The electorate now and the major players on the other side.
All of us.
All of us.
Collectively. We are not ready. We are not serious because we don't even know what we are talking about.
How do you mean?
Oh, we want a better 2023. Have we defined it? What is better 2023? What does it mean in terms of education? What does it mean in terms of agriculture, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of foreign policy, and so on? Have we defined it?
Can a one-term solve this conundrum for us?
Yes.
Because we find out that the desire to have a second term makes even those who are visionary leaders to compromise on their values, on their vision, as well as their trajectory.
Yes, a one term will probably be more appropriate, because what I have found from my own experience is that the last 2 years of the first term is really politics, no local government.
Yes.
It is hard to get back.
No governance happens.
No governance. Nothing in the overall interest of the society. It is what will make me come back.
But this one term has been proposed in the past. If I recall, late Chief Rotimi Williams was leader of the Patriots, and they first proposed it at the time. And over time, I think there's been about 4 or 5 instances where there's been some coalescing of like minds to propose it to the National Assembly and even to the nation. How come we don't have anyone who is anyone who is strong enough in the establishment queuing behind such a fantastic idea?
There is a valid argument that the 1999 Constitution lied against itself. In 2004, before that, in 2001, Obasanjo set up a committee of the 3 political parties to look at the 1999 constitution. Because the truth is that Obasanjo didn't see that constitution until he had been sworn in.
Really?
So he didn't know what was inside. So we all know it's some fraud. Because the opening paragraph says, we, the people of Nigeria, have been acted for ourselves. There was no Constituent Assembly. There was no national conference. There was no referendum. So where did we Nigerians enact for ourselves? And every attempt to comprehensively look at that constitution had failed.
Because the establishment didn't want it.
So in 2004, Jerry Gana was made in charge of a body to go around Nigeria, and one of the things they used to say that the constitution lied against itself. So if we want to really validate the constitution, we can have a referendum on it. Do we want it? Yes or no? We don't want it. The majority has it. Let's write a new constitution. We wouldn't have needed it.
Jonathan tried to put a confab together in 2014, I think.
Yeah, there was a national conference in 2014. And
wouldn't that have been a pathway for us to...
That could have been, but at that time, because the Southwest, the media, the pro-democrats, the human rights have decided that no to Jonathan. So the process was rejected from birth. The APC said they will not be part of it.
Okay.
And they were not.
Yes.
And they ended up being the successor.
So naturally they were not...
Unfortunately for us, Jonathan didn't implement. There were 600 resolutions. 480 of them were unanimously adopted without any vote.
Across the Federation?
Across the Federation. And I would have thought that President Jonathan, if he really understood the geopolitics of Nigeria, should have implemented some of those decisions.
Even if not wholesale?
If not wholesale, because some of them required constitutional amendment. But there were some that could be done by executive orders, some that could have been done by the PDP National Assembly, and would have become a fait accompli, no matter who took over. But he didn't. He let all the 600
The gerrymandering, what do you think will cause that? Was it trying to please some interest, or... I still refuse to agree with those who describe President Jonathan as clueless. I think he may have had his constraints. I'm not defending him.
I think what happened was perhaps he didn't believe in it. Perhaps he used it as a tool for winning election, because perhaps that was what the Southwest wanted.
Or he lacked the will or courage.
So perhaps also he didn't have enough courage. Or perhaps, as he says, it's too democratic. I thought he should not touch it, he should leave it.
But that's what the executive order is meant for in a democracy.
I thought personally that over 250 or thereabout of those resolutions will have been issued as executive order. They will have become part of our system. The systemic rot that we have, the systemic collapse that we have today, we probably would not have had it, because it would have become a fait accompli. You would have had a whole set of action.
Would it be out of place to clamor for those documents and the ones that were held previously, all the processes that led to the Macpherson constitutions of this world, the 1977 or 76 confab, the latest one among the other ones, for us to have a way of getting those documents into public access should be more democratized to those documents, but we don't have that yet.
Well, if you
So that maybe someday somebody could emerge who might want to be able to do something with those laudable objectives.
Yes, it would be good, but of what use is it if nobody is going to act on it? The reports of the Confab of 1977 that really created this mess we have, that we call presidential system, is available. The one that created the 1988 Constitution, which was never used, is available. The best of them was the one done during the Abacha regime, the 1994, I think. 95, 96.
Okay.
Was a better report than the other. But again, because Abacha realized that report created problem for him. You know, Musaya there was at the house, Olusegun Saraki was there, Caribe White was there, and they came out a beautiful report. And even though when they were being sworn in, they were promised that it would be autonomous, self-approval, sovereign. And once they've approved it, it will be all. He set up a committee to review it. It was in the course of that, I think he died.
And the nomenclature was Sovereign National Conference.
So we had that. Then we had a 27-man Nikki Toby that wrote the 1999 Constitution. But we had the one that 2005 Compact there. Then we had the 2014. It's all there. We can sit down. We don't need an elaborate conference, really.
I agree.
Particularly, we take the 2014 conference where the people voluntarily, it never happened. Unanimous, they didn't vote. It wasn't majority votes. Even it was only that. And the APC set up an El-Rufai committee to look at it, and they came with a report. And after that, they said they didn't know what constitutional restructuring means. So it is the fact that we don't have statesmen in this country. People love this country more than
themselves,
the pageantry of the office or themselves.
And the refusal to toe this line that you have brilliantly canvassed is what I want to believe is responsible for the large-scale clamor for us to go our separate ways.
Absolutely. If we had done the needful, if we had reviewed, if, for example, like the National Conference says you are reduced the amount of money coming to the center from 53% to 30%, that would have meant more money
to the states and local governments.
And then if you didn't have to be going after federal government for light, for water, for education, for air,
even for security.
You have domesticated the money in the and responsibility in the state, and you are not looking for Nigerian police to take care of my village. We will have been feeling better. But it seems as if some people think that you must compulsorily unite
to wedge people together,
but
on their own terms.
But they cannot see the difference between when a carpenter takes two wood and puts glue. When it's subjected to heat, it melts, it splits. But when you take water and elubo and you make amala, you can't separate the water again. You can build a heavier nation when the people voluntarily begin to see the beauty of staying together. You don't force people to stay together.
Coming up.
The media today is giving the society what it wants, not what it needs.
You've told us now today that from the look of things, Nigeria is on its way to making another tragic mistake.
And we are already making it.
Because of this process of emergence, we're still not interrogating the leader.
They must nominate candidates by June 6. Today is March 19. From March 19 to June 6, they will say these are the candidates. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they stand for. And they don't care if we know. They are not interested in also telling us, because we are not relevant.
And it doesn't seem as if we're interested in demanding for it.
Because we also have come to assume that even if you are the one answer you, so nobody is asking. So we are innocent bystander in a football game that we should be active participants. So
that's a tragic...
there has to be a radical change in the next few months before we can conclude that yes, we'll make something out of 2023. You don't make success out of sheer faith or sheer proclamation. If you want to succeed in a workplace, you have a plan, a roadmap.
Yeah.
You talk of the objectives. That's what management by objective teaches.
Yes.
These are my objectives. These are my goals.
Yeah.
This is the quality I want to achieve. This is the quantity I want to achieve. This is the cost at which I want to do. And this is the time. Then we are able to measure your performance.
Exactly.
Metrics, and then all of us can line up before you, behind you. Then we know where we can assist you. We know where we can blame you. You haven't achieved that. But now nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking.
In 2015, nobody talked about that as well.
Yes.
And that's why we couldn't hold anybody to account.
Railroaded. But 2014, 2015, we asked no question.
And today, we're still not asking questions.
Because we are now suffering from the guilt of our conscience. It's becoming difficult for us to interrogate what we have celebrated. So we keep quiet.
But shouldn't we try to avoid the same mistake in 2023 by rising up now and begin to formel and interrogate those who have shown their hands, as it were?
You know,
is it a Stockholm syndrome thing or despondency and despair thing?
Let me put it this way.
Please, sir.
You know puppetry?
Yes.
We became puppets in 2014. Now the puppeteer wants to dance. So what will the puppets do?
That's deep.
I think that's our problem.
And some have said the puppeteer is dancing naked and nobody is telling him, like the famous king who is dancing naked.
Because everybody is comatose. The media is comatose.
What's the way out?
The academia, comatose.
The labor unions,
comatose. The student unions struggling to get their own share, comatose. So?
Even, you've talked about professional bodies, you've talked about civil society organizations who are comatose, as it were.
Oh, they are comatose.
A long time ago.
Some of the civil organization societies are already awake. Some didn't sleep, but because they were overwhelmed by the majority, so they kept quiet. Now they are beginning to find their voices. And when they begin to find their voices, to begin to ask questions. And human society, there is this, we are like cattle, we have a herd instinct. When some people begin to ask, then others will get emboldened. Then they begin to ask. So it is important that that minority that are not slept, that have considered themselves to the last line, either in churches, in other civil organizations, in mosques, and so on, when they begin to ask questions, you're going to find that very soon a larger number will begin to ask. In fact, some of the media houses that are sleeping will wake up. The media today is giving the society what it wants, not what it needs.
The media is giving the society what it wants, not what it needs.
And a society will only develop on the basis of its needs, because sometimes what you want is irrelevant. There are things that we have to do. The media itself must wake up, must rediscover its noble role. The media must remember that there was no war of independence in Nigeria except those fought by the newspapers, the editors, the editorial columns, the columnists, the various columns. Those were the only wars we fought before we got independence. They must also recall that the 28 years of military will not have ended if the media at that time had been like today's media. If they didn't go into trenches, all the various magazines, if they didn't go into trenches, at the risk of their life, there will have been no civilianization of governance in Nigeria.
Ambassador Farounbi, it's been a very, very illuminating, revealing session having this conversation with you. We still need to get back to your doorstep, because all of these snippets of information are history being written, and like you said earlier on the program, if you do not document your history, then there's no way the coming generations can take it further from where you left it. Depreciation is what is going to happen. We'd like to thank you very much for accepting
thank you so
our invitation
much.
to be
on
on
this
the program.
leading program, on this Boom Television, it's only you that could have successfully kept me.
Thank you so much, sir.
Talking for this long.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much, sir. And on that very positive and inspiring note, we'd like to appreciate our viewers for spending part of your time with us on the program today. Until we'll come your way, same station, same time, next time. Bye for now.